Hello! You might notice that it's just me today. So yes, we are doing something a little bit different. Not sure how you guys are gonna feel about it, because I know that my wife is definitely the star of the show. But we figured we'd try this out because I wanted to film me making some food. Today, we will be making pulled pork. I'm not a professional. I don't have professional equipment. I have a Traeger Pro Series. Buying our pork shoulder from a grocery store. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Gonna make our own rub, not using anything special. Our pellets are from Costco. Like, everything's pretty simple. I'm just gonna show you step by step how we make one of our favorite things around here. We love eating pulled pork. It's always great when we have people over or when we have a gathering. And why not film it? I'm definitely not a professional. I might do things that you think are wrong, but this is how I make my pulled pork. I think it's pretty good. My friends think it's pretty good, but let me know what you think below. If you're interested in this type of content, let me know as well, because why not try it out? All right, let's do this. As we said before, today we're making some pulled pork. This is about 10 pounds, and I got the bone. We're just gonna open it up, trying to be careful not to score the meat at all. Grab some paper towels. Peel back the plastic, try to leave as much of the liquid in the bag as possible. Grab our paper towel, drop. And we're gonna grab a couple more. You wanna try to pat your meat dry all over. A lot of times, you'll get a crazy fat cap on top. This one doesn't really have that, just this patch, which I'm okay with because these cuts of meat have a lot of fat inside of them. Now we're gonna make a rub. I personally like to make my own because I like to experiment with different things. With brisket, I'll pretty much only do salt, pepper, and some Lowry's. But with pork, I enjoy the more complex rub. So we'll throw in some brown sugar, some garlic, some cayenne, a little bit of paprika. I don't put my salt in the bowl for the rub. I actually like to season the meat so I could see how much salt I'm putting, and then I'll do everything else as one mixture in the bowl. I'm using Diamond Crystal Kosher salt, and then we're gonna grind a lot of pepper, coarse ground, and then we're gonna mix up our rub. Let's season the meat first with the salt. I'm sure if you've watched any videos about barbecue, you've heard it's almost impossible to over-season. So go up high, season it pretty liberally. Trust me, it will not be salty. We're gonna leave it like 15 minutes. You'll see the salt starting to disappear while we mix the rub. It starts to get absorbed and you'll see some moisture come to the surface. There we have it for the salt. Now we'll mix up our rub. This is gonna take a while, so I'm not gonna film the whole thing. We want a lot of pepper. Pepper is really what helps attract the smoke. You could buy coarse ground pepper from Costco. A lot of people now sell 16 mesh black pepper. I personally like grinding it. Plus, I enjoy how flavorful it is. You will notice the difference. I have a decent amount of black pepper. Into that, I'm gonna go in with some brown sugar. I like my pulled pork to have that sweetness. Garlic powder. Decent amount, some Lowry's. We want to be slightly conservative with this because we don't want too salty, and this has salt in it. We already seasoned our pork up pretty well. With the brown sugar, I really enjoy a kick of cayenne, some paprika, and we mix. Break up all those clumps of brown sugar, get black pepper in there. Smells fantastic. I'm gonna give this a quick taste. Oh, that's phenomenal. Oh, it has a kick to it. Now we are just gonna go on very generous. All the sides, don't worry, it's gonna fall off. You're gonna rub it in there, pack it in, and rotate. To the bottom. There we go. It's seasoned up and it's ready to go. I don't recommend that you put it on directly right now. We are gonna go turn on the smoker. I have a pellet smoker, so we're just gonna click a button and it's gonna be turned on. I would leave this to adhere minimum 15 minutes. I'll show you the difference. Look at right now how you see all these patches. All of that's gonna be, the salt is gonna continue to release moisture and it's going to be tacky and we're gonna get a much better product. Pardon the AC noise, it's a very hot day today. Gonna set smoker to 250. And then we're gonna hit ignite. It's been about 10 minutes. See how all of this is now absorbed, all the liquid coming out. Up here, the fat won't let it penetrate, but all the meat parts darkened. They've absorbed the salt. Seasoning is starting to be tacky. So we look good to go. I just turned on the smoker, setting it to 250. Let's go outside. These are the pellets I've been using for a while now. They're from Costco. If you couldn't tell, we love our Costco. It's a mix of oak, hickory, maple, and cherry. I've really enjoyed it. It's also such a good value. Especially if you are starting off, I would highly recommend it. And our hopper is full. It is now going to come up to temp. And then once it comes up to temp, we will get started. I don't know if you could see all that smoke. Now it's igniting. It's 88 degrees, so it's working extra hard to get up to the 250. Right now it's leaking a lot of smoke, which is really normal. You'll see once it comes up to temp, you won't be able to see this much smoke. And right now the smoke's very strong. Gonna come to that blue smoke you always hear people talking about online, pretty much invisible. If you want to throw your meat on right now, you can. You might get a little bit of dirty smoke, which on a pellet grill, you're not going to get over smoke. I don't have a super smoke option or any of that. So I think it's okay to throw your meat on right now, or we could wait till it comes up to temp. I'm probably going to go get mine started. I don't want to wait all day. 10 minutes of it in this kind of smoke is really not going to kill a 10-pound piece of pork. So as you can see, our smoker's up to 145. That was what, 2 minutes? I think I was inside. Just grabbed it on my specific smoker. This area is the hottest. This area is the coolest, especially in the back over here. Now, this can handle some decent amount of heat. I'm gonna rock it here, right in the middle, not completely over where there's very little protection, but right about here. And we're gonna take our bone side, that's the most protected, put it there. We will grab our probe, stick it in. That's it. So now you'll see our probe temperature is going to drop down significantly because it was in there without anything. Our smoker is going to continue to rise. And once it hits 250, we'll be rocking. Just going to go wash off my hands and I'll be back in a minute. I don't know if you were able to see earlier, but the probe initially said 120 because it was in there. Now that it's in the meat, it's actually reading us an accurate temperature. The meat's about 55 degrees. Smoker's still coming up to temp at 203, still preheating, but it will work pretty quickly to get up to temp. We're gonna rock it probably 2 hours at least without opening it. At that point, we could start talking about spritzing if we want to. Really optional. If you haven't seen how a Traeger works before, this is it. Very simple. Plug it in, get started. Anyone can smoke now. It's been about 2 hours almost. We're reading at 135. Just gonna take a quick look. You can see the bone is already starting to pull back. We have a really nice red smoky color. Some parts are starting to dry out, like these edges over here. If you look here, probably gonna go on with a little bit of a spritz. We'll go inside and make the spritz, and we'll come back and spray it. Probably every hour until we are ready to wrap. You could get spray bottles from anywhere. Home Depot sells really big ones. I have one. For a cook like this, probably overkill. This one's from the dollar store. If you haven't seen my wife's video on stuff she buys at the dollar store, she gets a lot of good stuff. We're gonna take some apple cider vinegar. I'm gonna go in with about a third of this, maybe a quarter. And then we're gonna do about 2 parts of water to that. I'm gonna take our spray head, quick shake, and we're ready to head outside. Give it a couple spritzes on anything that's looking dry. Gonna switch it to the spray mode. We don't want anything crazy. Spritz it up. That's it. Probably check on this in another hour. Right now, probe's reading around 140, so we'll see in another hour. It's been 2.5 hours now. It's been about 5 hours. Let's take a look. Spritzed it 2 more times. Pretty pleased with the color. Could leave it to get a little darker, but let's probe it now. Probe is reading at 170, but I trust this a little bit more, so it's going in pretty easily. Look at all that juice. I'm looking at like 160 up top, 168, it's about 160. So we're still gonna let this rock a little, just this little underside here. Probably check in another half hour, 45 minutes. So it's been about an hour since we last checked. Probe, 165, 173. All right, so we're between 160 and 170 all around. I could let this go. I know a lot of people are gonna tell me it's not dark enough with the bark. I really don't mind bark like this. It's gonna be shredded up for sandwiches anyways. I think it's ready to wrap. So we're not gonna do a wrap in butcher paper like what we do with a brisket. Normally for pork, I like to do a method I saw online. This is what we're gonna do for our wrap. Pop out the probe. Gonna grab our meat. A lot of people will tell you now, put apple juice, apple cider vinegar in here. I won't do any of that. All we're gonna go in is a couple knobs of butter, just on top. 4 or 5, nothing crazy. And then this is completely optional. I would do the butter, but the brown sugar's off. I like it sweet, like we said. Some people will put hot honey. And then we're just gonna grab foil on really tightly. You're gonna see there's no liquid in here. You're gonna see how much juice is in this in a couple hours when we take it off. And after we let it rest. And then just throw this back on, grab our probe, right into the meat. On, close, and we are going to crank smoker up to 275 now. We'll be back in about an hour and a half 2 hours most likely to check on how it's doing, and it should be done by then. So it is pouring outside, so sorry I couldn't show you when I was taking it off, but it's probing absolutely like butter. 200, 203 in most places. So it's ready. So I pulled it off. We will uncover it just to show you. The bone is 100% just gonna pop right out. And you see all those juices. You remember we added nothing except a couple pads of butter. Came off about 5 minutes ago. You're gonna recover it. You do not wanna pull it right now. At least half an hour. I recommend an hour if you have the time. Let it rest, let it come down, even the temperature. So we will show you when it's time to shred. Time for the best part. We get to pull it. The bone came out super easy. It was rested. Super tender. You can see the smoke ring on it. I was really pleased with it. We're just gonna shred a little bit more and that's it. Okay, well, that's how I make my pulled pork. It came out pretty great this time, which I'm pretty thankful for. So this video wasn't a complete waste. Let me know if you want to see more. I have a brisket in the freezer. We've talked about that in the poke video. If you haven't watched that, you should definitely give it a watch. I love cooking. I love smoking meats as well. So if you want to see more of this, let me know. Write it below and definitely get subscribed to my wife on her YouTube, on her TikTok. She puts out a lot of funny content. Hope you enjoyed it and we'll see you next time, hopefully together.